Hey, welcome to an all new So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Tuesday episode. Oh boy, folks, we got to do it. We got to jump back in to Baldoni versus Lively and Lively versus Baldoni. So, depending on how I feel, I will then go. I'm like, if you are all good out there, I will then go through Baldoni's complaint, which is 179 pages. I will not be doing all of that. I will be doing selections, the selected works of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against Blaketh Lively. What a tangled web these Hollywood types weave. What a mess. But I'm not glad to jump. I think this is a mess. I think listen, I think there are so many other things that we need to focus on right now. And this is shaping up exactly how I thought it would if you listen to my shows in late December when I was covering this before the sinus surgery. I thought, oh man, this is going to be a mess for a long time to come. And it is. In fact, they announced today that there finally was a trial date set for this. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni will go to trial. The New York judge scheduled it for March 9th, 2026. I want to remind you, we are in January of 2025, the year where every day feels like a month. So by my calculations, this trial is taking place 10 years from this March. Or I'm not good at math, but my God, Jen Shaw will be out of prison and on a new season of Salt Lake City before this will go to trial. If it goes to trial, right? That's the key. Will it go to trial? I think it will, because I think at this point, there are so many big egos involved, and I also will include Baldoni in that. When people feel like they're getting destroyed, they will, this is, talk about dragons, talk about Clohessys. I mean, like, this is going to be a shitstorm, and I fear everybody is going to lose a lot of money, a lot of time. Maybe this will be settled, but something in me tells me, and I think I even mentioned this in the interview with Lauren, that their egos will make them keep doubling down, and both sides. Now, I when I started covering this, and I've mentioned this, it was based off the New York Times article and Blake Lively's initial complaint, which talked about the smear campaign and the PR tactics. And it was really interesting, just, studying pop culture over these decades. It was really interesting because you had always heard about situations like this, but it was different to actually have, the lid open up and you are seeing all of these behind the scenes arguments, exchanges, how we bury people. You always hear about it, but like this was supposedly definitive proof, right? Now, then the new year happened, and then Baldoni, and unfortunately I was like out of it with sinus surgery, so I had to let the Baldoni Lively stuff go. And I'm not saying I'm back on the case, because no, but I keep saying I want to put a capper on it. This is not I did 3 parts already in late December. Let's consider this the 4th part, and I just pray to God, we don't need a 5th, 6th, 7th part. My God, it needs to it ends with us. It's never going to end. It is never going to end. Oh my God. Listen, let's start with some good news before we get into that. The White Lotus Season 3 trailer came out today. That's going to premiere in February 16th on Max. So that's a little bit of good news. And also, for you people that love just mess on top of mess, the Baldwins. We finally got our first trailer look at the Baldwins on TLC with Alex and those crazy kids and Hilaria Baldwin, who doesn't really use her Spanish accent, her fake Spanish accent in it. There's like one little time that I caught it in the trailer. But other than that, it's just Hillary from Boston, Alex's wife. So that's going to premiere February 23rd. So like the middle of February, our Sunday nights are going to be packed because I think Sister Wives will be like on hiatus for a little bit after their this next week's episode. So that's good news, right? Okay, let's get back to the bad news with it ends with us and Baldoni Lively. It's just this Hollywood story, and I think there are so many really these big accusations are being made. And by the way, you are so tired of this, I'm sure, but I need to catch up to this and walk myself through this as well to try to make sense of it. But it does seem from reading Baldoni's complaint, which I talk about to Lauren with, it presents this whole other picture. And this is why I say, like, it's like torched earth. Like they want to go full scorched earth. I do think at this point they do want to ruin Blake Lively. And maybe for just cause. Maybe like, yeah, how dare you do this if you brought this to the New York Times? Because I do think Baldoni has an argument against the New York Times in that first lawsuit. Because the first lawsuit from Baldoni and Wayfair was against the New York Times. Then this next one was including Blake Lively as well. So I'm really curious about New York Times, and it seems like they didn't go to Baldoni and Wayfair with enough time for them to properly respond. But Brian Friedman, who we've talked about at length on this podcast because he is one of the lawyers involved with Bethany Frankel's Reality Reckoning, he's on the case, man. And this guy, you do not want to piss this guy off. This guy is going on all these media outlets. He is releasing footage. We had a 9-minute video release last week where we saw the slow dancing scene where Blake had said it was one way, and then we actually see the clip, and we don't necessarily see what Blake was describing in her documents. I told Lauren this at the time when we recorded this. She didn't know this. What they're threatening to do was they're threatening to release a website that is going to have more clips, audio. And I was like, oh, this is the weirdest OnlyFans ever. Like, pay $9.99 a month and you'll get all of Justin Baldoni's audio message to Blake Lively. Sexy stuff. And so that happened. And then also I told Lauren about on Thursday, because so much stuff happened this past Thursday, was that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively also did the first of 3 attempts to get this, to get a gag order in place, to get Brian Friedman and Justin Baldoni and Wayfair to stand the F down. Stop it until we get in court. It is getting abusive, they are saying, which, I know some people could LOL at that because we've already now established abuse potentially on both sides. But Blake Lively, man, it is not looking good for her. But I will say there are certain instances where you can see where Baldoni might be in over his head just in how he handles Lively and how he kind of not bends the knee, because even when he does try to assert some authority, he gets shot down and then has to leave a 6-minute voicemail apologizing to Blake Lively at 2 a.m., which I will say that is not a great time to, send somebody a 6-minute voice note. I get you're busy, but maybe if we're concerned at all about being creepy, and especially if you're a dude, maybe a 2 a.m. voice note isn't the way to go. And we're going to play the voice note here in a second, but just in the hey, Blake, what's going on? It's just oh man, it just reminded me of when I worked with actors all the time. It's a special breed. Sometimes it's a special breed in the most beautiful way ever. And sometimes it is just massaging egos. It is just people sucking each other's D and telling kissing ass. I've seen this, that's why these emails and the text messages, they come off so cringe, and you're like, oh my God. But I'm telling you, that isn't actually weird. I swear to God, that's not as abnormal as you might think it is. Actors, artists, it's a different type. It's a different breed. We all kiss each other's ass. Oh my God, you were so good in that scene. Oh, you are going to kill that scene. And Blake name dropping Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds every 5 seconds is not helping. Taylor wants to just go enjoy the Super Bowl, and she's going to be dragged into this It Ends With Us mess. Listen, Blake, I'm glad your movie did well, made $350 million, but I just finished a 2-year Eras tour, and I'd like to enjoy the fruits of my labor, being Travis Kelce and me getting photographed at the Chiefs game. Please, let me enjoy my time off. I'm getting brought into this, and it's not looking great. And they're playing dirty. They're releasing every email, every text message. We're releasing video clips, which I don't even know legally how Baldoni and Wayfair are allowed to do that when Sony is the distributor. Doesn't Sony own this? Are they able to just release 9 minutes of unused It Ends With Us footage? Or are they just saying, F it, smoke them if you got them, let's release everything? And that's why that website, when it was threatened last week, was such a weird idea, because I'm like, wow, this is the bonus features of the worst Criterion Collection DVD ever. Like, I mean, I used to love, well, I do love Criterion Collection, but I used to love collecting physical DVDs, physical media. I loved it. And they would always have like, like deleted scenes or audio commentary by the director and the actors. And you get all excited because you're like, I'm going to learn how to make movies from this DVD of Good Will Hunting. And this is just like the worst bonus features you would ever get on a DVD. Like, it ends with us. We get deleted scenes, creepy emails sent from Blake Lively to Justin Baldoni, creepy voicemails from Justin Baldoni to Blake Lively, and 9 minutes of a slow dance scene that will bore you to tears. But Blake Lively does seem to be misinterpreting what Justin Baldoni was doing. It is just a mess, but that was something new. I'm like, they're going to create a website? They're going to create a website to show us more footage of why Baldoni is in the right. I do predict, though, that, like, we always talk, I talk so much lately about the pendulum. The pendulum swings one way, you're riding high, and then it swings the other way. And we've already seen the pendulum swing high for Blake in late December, and we're watching it swing the other way very high for Baldoni. I do think somewhere we are going to meet in the middle, and we are both going to be so sick of these people that it will ruin both of their brands. That is just something that a feeling in my gut. But also, listen, I'm too old to be like Team Baldoni or Team Lively. Like, I'm an old man. I don't know if I have that. And like, at the end of the day, this is tragic. It is an abuse of power and ego. And I mean that really primarily if, to Blake Lively, if Baldoni's documents hold up. But this is something that's getting to a point where it probably does need to be decided in court, but also, I mean, do you think Taylor Swift is going to take the stand? Like, is Taylor Swift going to be a hostile witness? Is she going to have to leave the country? You did your mind just like, I'm like, the whole cast of it ends with us. They're not going to do a sequel. Their sequel is literally going to testify at court. Like, are we going to see Jenny Slate on the stand? Brendan Sklenar, like the cat. I know. Anyways, but it does seem like Blake has a deep insecurity, which most actors do. She's also with her husband, who potentially, like, I don't necessarily. They're trying to like jam this other narrative in here that Ryan Reynolds is jealous of Justin Baldoni. And I think that could potentially, that has legs in a sense, because you could say, oh, well, Ryan Reynolds was with Scarlett Johansson, and I think then he met Blake Lively, and there's some gray area there. I think the same thing with Blake Lively. There was like stories about her with Ben Affleck when they did The Town, when he directed her in that movie. There were stories about DiCaprio. This is Hollywood. There's stories about everybody doing things to everybody. And Reynolds, his sense of humor is so smug and quick and acerbic that it's really funny if you're in the mood for it. But if you're not, it can be used against you really quickly because, like I said, it just comes off smug and arrogant. But Deadpool, that's the other thing. Oh, they made fun of Justin Baldoni in Deadpool as the character Nicepool. Yes. Ryan Reynolds makes fun of his own wife. Like, that was one of his big posts, was making fun of Blake Lively as much as he could. But now all of a sudden he's jealous. That's one way to look at it. Or he really did believe Blake Lively was being treated this way by this man. Who knows? Lively could have positioned it or even played the voicemail that I'm about to play to you and be like, whoa, 2 a.m. voicemail? That's creepy. Where he's like, hey, Blake, what's going on? You don't know. I mean, it could be. It does seem like he wants Blake Lively to stay at home. He's off being a $1 billion actor. He has his hands with Mint Mobile, advertising. He owns a soccer team. He had the world on the string. And now Ryan Reynolds isn't in hiding. He actually was at the premiere of Hugh Jackman's Radio City Music Hall show, and he spoke and gave his little funny speech about how much he loves Hugh Jackman. I believe that to be true. And also today, I saw a shot of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively with another actor at Sundance. The Sundance Film Festival is taking place right now. Shout out Lisa Barlow. It's taking place right now, and I saw a picture of them and another actor. I think it was Michelle Maroney, who worked with Blake Lively on the upcoming A Simple Favor 2, the sequel to A Simple Favor, which I talked with Lauren about. So I was wondering when Blake's first appearance was going to be. So now we know it was at Sundance and it was just like a selfie picture. But I wonder if that selfie picture was directed. I do wonder though, if your ego is so big, how aware of you, how aware are you of your perception with people right now? Like, are you, and is it to the point where you don't realize how bad this has gotten? There's no way, right? She has to realize. But, they have fought hard. I mean, see, this is like Ryan Reynolds has been around forever, right? Blake Lively, been around for a long time as well. But even in the Baldoni complaint where you see Blake Lively, you read these emails, it's just, like I said, this deep insecurity that comes out where you can tell she feels she has been mistreated by the industry. And then you have two global superstars, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, saying, yeah, fuck what people say. You got to stand by your art. Like, okay, well, maybe I'm not where you guys are yet. I mean, like, it has to be a lot of pressure. I do still want to extend empathy towards Blake Lively. I still do. But I also want to say, this is what I said at the time when I did those episodes, is that it's frustrating because we're doing this just with the information that we have. We do not have Baldoni's side at all. And pop culture and just the world moves so quickly that nobody these days are going to wait. People are going to make 40 TikToks, 40 pods, listen, Max, if HBO Max hasn't already made an 8-part docuseries, what are we even doing here? Which that'll be out within a month. My God. Just think about all the docus. You think you're sick of it now. Wait a year from now when all the docuseries start rolling in. Like, right? Like, it's going to be bad. I'm just warning you. Which is such a waste because all of these docuseries, it's already been done on TikTok. It's already been done. Everything you hear today will probably already have been done. There are no real hot takes anymore. I'm just seeing the same take repeated and parroted. And then like somebody will pivot with the take and then I'll watch the same creators parrot that take. It's just back and forth and back and forth. So it is interesting. Like I do implore people to read the document themselves. I know people like, I have a fucking life. What are you taught? You just told me to read 180 page doc. I have kids. Yeah, it's a lot. It's ridiculous. And that there is a part of me and Lauren talking today where it's like, we realize that we're different people. We're like, me and her are like a different breed. We're like, yeah, I guess people aren't totally in it like us, where we will read a 179 page court document. Do you know, since I've started this show, I've had to read so many court documents. Nobody tells you that about podcasting. In fact, they should warn kids about this. If you don't want to read court documents, don't be a lawyer and don't be a podcaster in the entertainment section of podcasting. So yeah, that's my opening salvo. Oh yeah, by the way, before I forget, I did like an hour and 15-minute Patreon episode today that was all focused on, well, the first part was focused on billionaires. Talking about Elon Musk and billionaires, but it then dovetailed into Lisa Barlow and all of the lawsuits against Lisa over the years, because I keep threatening to do that, not threaten, but like I keep talking about it on the recaps of, I'm just so curious about her financial situation and what she actually does. So I've started researching it, and that's over there on the Patreon, patreon.com/so bad it's good. And it was really eye-opening, but it reminded me of Baldoni Lively in a way, because there's just so much back and forth. And especially when you're trying to get something done and you're trying to fight for yourself and you're trying to like be victorious. And you have Baldoni, who seems like, he might be a little cringe in the sense that it's like, I want to be compassionate. I want to be a good guy. I want to be all of these, like, I want to be this, I understand the woman's plight. And taking it at face value, you're like, well, that's kind of a beautiful notion. But then even he gets lost in the weeds with all of this stuff at times. And I think I'm just so curious how they even managed to make it through production at this point. But yeah, so I talked about that over on the Patreon. Let's get into this voicemail that just got leaked. The Daily Mail first reported this. It was an exclusive, but now TMZ, everybody has this voicemail. And I feel like it's just like, obviously, Baldoni's team leaked this. I do want to say it's a voice note. It's not a voicemail. So he was taking his iPhone and like, hey, the voice memo, like, hey, Blake, it's me, Ryan. What's going on? And he sent that's even weird to me. Like voice note, like you're like, I'm sure that's maybe a normal way to communicate. It was just weird that it was 2 a.m. Like, I don't know. I don't know if this is the way to go to just keep leaking these things, because I think I think he thinks he looks like a good guy, which he probably, I don't know, part of him probably is. But you also have to say, like there could be subtext, and there probably is subtext, that he was like, this effing B. This effing B is trying to like try to wrestle creative control from me. I am the director. And it feels like he was never respected or being able to be assertive enough, because he really kept hitting that nice guy routine again and again and again, where I think Blake thought she could steamroll this guy. And if you have people like Ryan and Taylor in your ears, saying like, I made Deadpool $1 billion franchise, Taylor Swift does what Taylor Swift does, you're like, well, I'm working on this DV story with flowers. I play Lily Black. Like everybody wants to be bigger than they are. And if none of this had come out, like I keep reminding people, this would be considered a success story. A movie at this budget, which was like a minimum budget compared to other Hollywood blockbusters, made $350 million worldwide. And now they have made the sequel rights inconsequential. Like nobody wants to see this sequel. People are like, Wayfarer and Baldoni own the sequel rights, and that's what this is all about. So, like Lively wanted to wrestle away those sequel rights. No! This property is ruined. Trust me. Maybe like 100 years from now. But nobody wants to see, like, in the role that made her notorious, Blake Lively returns as Lily Bloom. Like, no, it's done. Property is ruined. And I was reading something yesterday. Demois, she has like a newsletter she puts out every week on Sunday. And I thought this was interesting as well. Let me pull this up. I don't know if you guys saw this yet, but I thought, oh my God. It was just like another casualty of the Baldoni Lively wars. Okay, so this is it. Colleen Hoover allegedly retires amidst It Ends With Us drama. Now, Colleen Hoover is the author of this book. And Demois reports in her newsletter that she has taken a step back from the public eye amidst the ongoing legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Hoover has not only deactivated her Instagram account, but has already reportedly retired from writing and let go of her entire team. Hoover initially showed support for Lively on Instagram, but has since remained silent as the legal battle escalates. Her decision to deactivate her account and withdraw from the public eye suggests a desire to distance herself from the controversy. Sources close to Hoover reveal that she has also allegedly retired from writing, a surprising move considering her recent foray into the film industry. She reportedly let go of her entire team, signaling a significant shift in her career and public image. Whatever the reason, Hoover's withdrawal marks a significant development in the ongoing drama surrounding It Ends With Us. That's from Demois' newsletter. Man, I sure hope this isn't true. Like, whatever you think about Colleen Hoover and her writing, do you know how hard it is to be a success at anything in this world? And she becomes a successful author. They, buy the movie. Think about it. Something that you wrote is going to be up there on celluloid. How amazing. Something to be celebrated. And then the movie comes out. There's drama, sure, but it comes out and it's successful. And then she sells the rights for her other book. I think it's Verity, right? I think Anne Hathaway was set to star. And then all of this bullshit. And I think, we do mention this with Lauren, is that she's a Bravo fan like us. She loves pop culture like us. She was a normal person that got into, all of these things, just imagine. There is a part of me that feels really bad for Colleen Hoover, because this has to traumatize you. Like all of a sudden, and then you open up, and just like how voracious we all are with this story, myself included. Like imagine going to your safe space, which for some people that's Instagram, and you're just seeing person after person, and like it's something that you wrote, it's something that you're proud of, and it's also something that has elements of your life, like an intense part of your life with DV. It's got to leave a really bad taste in your mouth. So I hope that's not true, man. To quit writing, to fire your whole team, it is just a mess. And that's how messy this has gotten. It should have never gone this far. And that's why, at the end of the day, I am still wondering what Blake Lively thought she was doing helping that New York Times article. and how long this had been in play and what their best case scenario was and what was their worst case scenario, because I don't think they could have imagined a million years that this would be happening, because this is the worst of the worst of the worst. And if that trial, like if that isn't settled and that trial's in March, A Simple Favor 2 is the sequel for Amazon, right? Is that even going to come out at this point? Will she be able to work in this next year? A lot of money goes into these projects. And when you attach your name, if you're a star, that gets funding for all of these projects. So you have to wonder, this is going to take her out for the next 14 months. So just a mess. Let's start with I made this post on Instagram just when I found out the court date was going to be March of 2026. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It is never going to end. I thought this was a great comment on this post I made. This is from Bella Talks TV. She has a podcast as well. That's a pop culture podcast to check out. But I thought this was an interesting comment. She wrote, "This story is such a cautionary tale. Performative feminism does nothing but set us back. And herd mentality is alive and well in 2025. The fact that this is taking up the time and the resources from real justice and real cases makes me so mad. They are both at fault for creating this mess and should have to apologize to all of us." Yeah, you know what? That's what the court should rule in our favor. And TikTok should not be banned entirely, but they should ban Lively Baldoni videos, no matter what side you're on. I'm good. I've got enough takes. But I thought that was, because that's interesting. There is, and especially once I heard that voicemail tonight, careers are obviously something that are hard to come by. You have to fight tooth and nail, especially in Hollywood. It is so hard to break in this town. And, so I understand Baldoni wanting to fight tooth and nail, but at the same time, his lawyer, they're going and this was the same kind of concern with the alleged smear campaign that Lively accused Baldoni of doing, even though the PR strategists are saying this is like taking off without us doing what we were going to do. Like we thought they're making our job easy because there was so much bad footage of Blake Lively over the years. But this shit really does exist. People try to bury each other all the time. That's a very real thing. And that's why I think when we first read Lively in the New York Times, Lively's complaint in the New York Times, we believed it. Yes, this shit does happen. And just like, and I hate to make this comparison to Brynn on Real Housewives of New York, which the reunion is tonight, these conversations are so delicate, and you don't want to be the boy or the girl who cried wolf. These are very real issues. And, sometimes if your issue isn't 100% true, you could potentially take away visibility for the next person, the next woman down the line, because there will be the next woman down the line that has to go through something that is, beyond the pale. This is a town of Harvey Weinsteins, which, by the way, I just interviewed the directors of the 4-part docuseries, The Fall of Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs, that premiered tonight on ID Discovery. The next 2 parts are tonight, and it is so dark. Like, Lively Baldoni seems like a flick. It seems like a fun, it seems like a fun parade compared to the stories I was watching in Diddy. Just story after story of abuse, sexual, business abuse, abuse, just all coming out from all sides. And this dude, was such a positive influence on the culture for a good amount of time. And just to see what was going on behind the scenes, like that to me is true darkness. I mean, this is bad. But it's not Diddy. Not that we need to compare, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I just watched 4 hours of this docuseries, and then I come back to Baldoni Lively, and you're like, guys, just get a room. Somebody wrote on my Instagram, "Fuck already," which is a horrible joke, but we need some levity here and there, right? Okay, so where we're at with today's developments is that Brian Friedman, who is Baldoni's lawyer, issued a response to Lively's claims that he is trying to taint the jury pool in their upcoming trial. Yeah, I am tainted. I am fully tainted. I cannot be on this jury. But Lively saying that they are leaking information in an attempt to disprove the actress's side of the story. So that is why, this threat of the website, the leaked voice note tonight. These are all like big things. And, so the judge is going to do a hearing just for the gag order. Now, they've tried to do this gag order 3 times, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. So a pretrial hearing has been set for Monday, February 3rd of this year, thank God, and that's going to address Blake Lively's request for that gag order. So we'll find out if Brian Friedman is going to have to shut his yapper or if he's going to be able to keep going. But right now, they are winning in the court of public opinion. They're winning the social media war, which is just so funny. Like I keep saying, that was like the initial complaint was that they were tainting social media against Blake Lively. Well, it's definitely happening now, but once again, they are using Blake's own words against her. But the release of the scenes, the threat of the website, it is getting in the woods a little bit. So I'm curious how this judge is going to rule. Brian Friedman sent a statement to Us Weekly that says this: tonight, Monday night, the irony continues to be rich for Team Lively Reynolds. I love that he keeps saying Reynolds. He wants to make sure that we know Ryan Reynolds is involved. He continues, our intention with the upcoming website is to do the exact opposite of what they themselves did when they gave probably false information to the New York Times. We will not be selective. We will not cherry pick, and we will not doctor text messages. Both Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds do not yet understand that there isn't one rule for them and one rule for everybody else. So what he's also doing is saying, these are the kings and queens of Hollywood. The rules don't apply for them, but us peons, including my client Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios and our billion-dollar investor that is funding all of this campaign, we're the normies. What an interesting game. He continues, if they want to unethically gag the truth by threatening to wield their power in Hollywood, we will fight it every step of the way. We are not scared of them. We will not be silenced by them. Defending ourselves is not retaliation. It is a human right. This is a movie, you guys. Oh my God. The making of, the eventual Lifetime movie of this court case is going to be very powerful. I wonder if they're going to call Ryan Reynolds to the stand and he will have to wear the Deadpool outfit. Just a thought. Anyways, Friedman's response came the same day that Judge Louis J. Lyman, who serves the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, set a date of March 9th, 2026, if the co-stars don't settle their legal battle beforehand. I just don't know what settling looks like in this case. This article reminds us that earlier this month, Baldoni's team revealed its plan to launch a website that will allegedly support his claims against Lively. They also released a video from the set showing the actors filming a romantic scene. While rolling, the pair could be heard speaking out of character, and the conversation has been an aspect of contention in the legal back and forth. Lively's legal team said in a statement to Us Weekly on January 21st, saying Justin Baldoni and his lawyer may hope that this latest stunt will get ahead of the damaging evidence against him, but the video itself is damning. The video itself is, you can see some Blake being uncomfortable to a degree, but I can only go so far with that video with my own eyes. This statement continues, this matter is in active litigation in federal court. Releasing this video to the media rather than presenting it as evidence in court is another example of an unethical attempt to manipulate the public. There is a point to be made there, even though I don't believe the video shows what they think it shows. The statement continues, it is also a continuation of their harassment and retaliatory campaign. While they are focused on misleading media narratives, we are focused on the legal process. We are continuing our efforts to require Mr. Baldoni and his associates to answer in court under oath rather than through manufactured media stunts. Now, at this point, like I said, maybe this does need to get in court and away from our timelines. So yeah, that was like the recent developments in that sense. And then we got the voice note tonight. This was, leaked to Daily Mail, which I imagine by, it's not said, but Friedman and Baldoni. Obviously, come on. Yeah, obviously they're behind this, right? It is just, God, this is just, sorry, I'm just still kind of just in awe of how messy this has all become. Okay, we're gonna play the voicemail. I'll start it because listen, I've got to poke fun at Baldoni a little bit with this voicemail because the ass kissing in this voicemail is just chef's kiss. And he's using also like a bit of a sexy voice, and maybe that's just his voice, but he's like, "What's up, like it's me, man." He has this lower register where the register he's using, if it was a woman, you would complain because it was vocal fry, but he has like this lower register, so it's kind of like sexy voice. I'm doing sex. Hey, what's up? It's Justin Baldoni. I think we're gonna make something magical, and I'm no walk in the park. Ask my wife, right? But anyways, I can't wait to be in this movie with you. We're gonna kill it. I'm sure you have a baby on your boob right now feeding, and that's a beautiful thing. Anyways, give my love to Ryan. So some of that is actually direct verbiage from this voicemail, voice note. So this voicemail, I believe, if what I'm reading is correct, Baldoni sent to Blake Lively after Blake Lively had potentially ignored Baldoni for 4 days after Lively had said, I had rewritten the rooftop scene, and he responded with, you know what? Great stuff. I'll take it into consideration. I'll try to see what I can throw in. And I think she took great offense to that. She brought up Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, and she's Clohessy, and these are her dragons, and we're all in artistic commune, and we're just the best product ever, right? And I think after 4 days, Baldoni got a little nervous because the star of his movie wasn't responding to him. And this voicemail gets left, which I just think the 2 a.m. voice note, if you are potentially in kind of an awkward working environment, you just don't want to send something at 2 a.m. in the first place. I'm sure they'll have plenty of excuses for this. But I also want to, one more thing, this is why it's so interesting, is that Justin Baldoni didn't even write the script. The script was written by Christy Hall. She wrote the script. She was asked to write the script by the director, Justin Baldoni, and author Colleen Hoover. She is also the writer and director known for Daddy-O. So she wrote this script. But it does seem like the script had a lot of changes from Baldoni, and then Lively and Reynolds threw in as well. And I think that is important to note. But this is also where the 179-page complaint that Baldoni filed a couple weeks ago is very interesting, because doing press or like on the red carpet, Blake Lively in an interview said that Ryan Reynolds wrote this scene. So in this, she said, so if I'm being told, Whoa, I just had a thought. What if this is like that movie Groundhog's Day, and we just wake up and we have to relive the Baldoni Lively legal drama day after day for the rest of our lives? Sorry. Anyways, I got lost in these amazing court documents that really suck you in. So these court documents, like we said in the interview with Lauren, they're just so, it's like a pulp novel. Like you're like, wow, it's just like tawdry stuff. So in part 43 of this document, it says, Baldoni initially invited Lively to make changes to the script. Lively began altering the script daily. The frequency of Lively's revisions alarmed the producers, director, and studio, who anticipated that her interference would persist every day of the shoot and disrupt the carefully planned production schedule. Each shooting day was intricately scheduled long in advance, and Lively's constant changes placed significant stress on the production crew, not to mention financial strain on Wayfair. You know what? It's so weird about this court. Like, did anybody like fucking just like try to like talk to her, like stand up to her? Like, you guys are all these big, powerful men. Like, nobody to say, hey, let's tell her she can't do this anymore. And, you know, it's Sony Pictures and Wayfair, and stop. Like, you know, maybe like a firm text. I mean, not like these kiss-ass voicemails in the middle of the night. But anyways, they have like this text in here between the producers. Like, are you listening to this? She's fixing the script. And like the other producer's like, I'm listening. Talking through it is better than not. Seeing what's possible, as long as any decision is done with approval. So they're panicked. And then the document says, more than a year later, during a red carpet interview at the New York film premiere, Lively stated, the iconic rooftop scene, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now. which is shocking because this whole voice note is based on Lively saying, I rewrote the rooftop scene. My pals Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds are very excited about my work, and I want you to be excited about my work. And this is what he's apologizing about in this voice note, was that he was like, oh, I kind of brushed it off and I shouldn't have. It's magical. But now she's blaming this scene on Ryan Reynolds. All of a sudden, Ryan wrote it. So what is the truth here? So this, the film's credited screenwriter, Chrissy Hall, when asked about the claims that Reynolds had written the scene, graciously responded, so if I'm being told that Ryan wrote that, then great, how wonderful. There were a few little flourishes that I did not write, and if those flourishes came from Ryan, I think that's wonderful. So she's being nice, being cool about all of this. But it seemed a huge bone of contention. And then Sony Legal Affairs got involved on August 9th and said, hey, we need some clarity on public comments made about Ryan Reynolds potentially contributing writing services for the rooftop scene. Can you provide additional information on this? So as there are no contracts, his services are not in the chain, nor is his name anywhere in the credits. One of the media reports which cite this claim made by Blake Lively, and they attach this People magazine article. But, this would also go against the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, if Ryan Reynolds did this and Blake Lively just said it on some red carpet, pulling Ryan Reynolds into the fray. Okay, so that gives you enough backstory for this voice note. Are you guys ready? I can't wait for you to hear this if you haven't heard it already. Get ready for Sexy Town.
Hey, Blake.
Hey, Blake. It's me, Justin.
It is 2 a.m.
2 a.m? Don't be doing this!
Hopefully this does not wake you up.
It's 2 a.m. I hope this doesn't wake you up.
Wow. There's so much I want to say to you, and I hope that we can FaceTime or see each other in person soon and get to talk more. But I'm just going to send you a few thoughts, and hopefully it's not going to be more than a few minutes. But I don't have the best track record. I don't think either one of us have the best track record for our voice memos. I want to start.
Which just makes me nervous because that means there's more voice memos between the two, and then it's going to be this weird love letters between voice notes that they send each other. This is going to be worse than a Kendrick Drake battle. They're just going to start dropping voice notes back and forth and back and forth.
With an apology.
So he said, I'm going to start off with an apology.
Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank, and I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that, and the way you framed it, and how that made you feel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me.
So this was her talking about how she feels like she's been unfairly treated by Hollywood, how she's written on other projects and has not been able to take credit for it, and she's let other people use her words, and she feels like the industry has really done her wrong in that sense, and putting that on Justin, guilting Justin, if it were.
It takes a lot of trust and vulnerability, and I feel really grateful that you feel safe enough to tell me that that's how you feel and share that with me. And I'm really sorry. I fucked up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I am far from perfect. I'm a very flawed man, as my wife will attest.
Hey-o.
And I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. I'm going to piss you off, probably, but I will always apologize and find my way back to center. That is.
So I will say, I think he is being this good guy. He's trying to kiss her ass. They've got this big film to do. It's a big moment for him. But I could also see in a world where if Ryan Reynolds heard this, would be like, what the fuck is this guy saying? It is every one of their interactions, even though I don't believe this to be the case, you could read as hey, sexy time, flirtation time. And I just, who's your favorite film director, you guys? Imagine Stanley Kubrick. Imagine Steven Spielberg. Imagine Greta Gerwig on Barbie leaving a message for Ryan Gosling like, "Hey Ryan, just wanted to talk about your work in I Am Ken. It's 2 a.m. Listen, I fuck up. I put my foot in my mouth." Like, imagine getting that saying, like, from your director saying, "I fuck up. I put my foot," like, then maybe don't be the director. We need a sure hand here. And that's why I feel like he kept doing this shit. Like Blake and maybe even Ryan felt like we can roll this guy over easy because we do know what we want to do with this film. You know, it sometimes sucks. Like being the nice guy, you will always be disrespected at some point. You know, like even if it sucks. Like people will roll over you all the time. Now, I do think there's a little bit of facetiousness in Justin's nice guy act, but I think, you know, he was trying to keep his cool to a degree, but it just comes off so kiss-assy.
That is one thing I can assure you of. And I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That must have felt terrible. And I will for sure do better. That was not my best weekend, and I should have given it more time. And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that, and fuck.
Referencing Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
I have friends like that, aside from the fact that they're two of the most creative people on the planet. The three of you guys together is unbelievable. Talk about energy and just a force, all three of you. But I just wanted you to know that I didn't need that because it's really good and it's going to make the movie sing like you said, and I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you. I'm just excited to spend time with you. I'm excited to be in your sphere and your presence and for us to share creative juices together, although that sounds terrible.
I miss your musk. I want to share creative juice. Hey, I just can't wait to share creative juices with you. Like, get the fuck out of here.
You and I have been trying to build a relationship, which I think we've done successfully. I mean, here we are talking like this, me into my phone
Through
at
a
2 in the morning,
note.
but largely via text and voice note. And I will be honest with you, that is not my biggest strength. I love being with people and being in somebody's space and being face to face. And
now you almost feel bad. Poor guys. Just, I like being in somebody's space, in somebody's personal space. I like intruding on people's personal space.
Face to face, and I feel like that's where I excel, and definitely fallen short at times in our text and voice note exchanges because there's so much to communicate and there's so much happening, and all that to say, I'm just really looking forward to spending time together, and I think that's going to really go a long way for our chemistry, which I believe is there. Has been there from the start, so I was so damn excited when you wanted to do this film. I felt it in the room when we met, and yeah, I think it does come from the both of us being so fucking hardworking and having a vision and not settling. And I'm excited to have a creative partner in that with you, and it's just really exciting. There's so much more to say. There's so much I want to say. And there's one thing that I do need to say, which is...
April Fools?
I am so sorry you have been through what you've been through with these other filmmakers and producers or whoever the people were that you worked with. It just pissed me off. Those fuckheads that... I'm just still kind of blown away that this is the industry that we're in and that you've experienced that as a woman. And I know I don't need to say it, but that's not at all going to be or will be, and hopefully it's not been the experience with me. There's nothing more exciting to me like that I get to work with Blake Lively and have her, all of her.
I get to work with Blake Lively, the lady from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. And then he goes, I get to work with all of her. What does that even mean?
That's what I want. And so there's been no hesitancy with me sending you the final draft file. I am totally...
Final Draft is the script writing program, you guys.
The only reason I didn't send it today was because I was trying to implement and add your notes into my working draft, which is already, like, I'm all over that draft right now. So there's a whole bunch of new stars that are going to be collated pages. and I just haven't had a chance to send it to you. But there's no hesitancy. I'm happy to send it to you, and I'm sorry that has happened to you before, and I hope after this experience there will be a new, I don't know. I hope it'll be healing in some way, because that's all I want. I want this movie to be healing. I want this movie to be commercial, just like you. And
so that's interesting. I want this movie to be healing. I want this movie to be commercial like you. Like the movie to be commercial like you seems like Blake said, I want this movie to be healing, but I also want it to be commercial. So he says the healing, but then attributes, box office performance-wise to Blake.
Just like you, and affect people and touch people, and I want to walk you through my whole plan and the work that we're doing with the domestic violence partner that we found, No More, and just my vision. And I just know that this can be really, really special, and it's going to be special, and you're the secret sauce, and we're the secret sauce. And anyways, I have so much more to say. I'm going to stop rambling.
I feel like he's about to say moist, like secret sauce.
I'm going to stop rambling, because Jesus Christ, it's been 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so fuck me. I'm sorry. You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob, and you're listening to me ramble at...
You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob at 2 a.m.
2 in the morning. I hope you're feeling better, and give Ryan my love.
Give Ryan my love? They hadn't even started filming the film yet.
Thank you for sending me that. It means the world to me that you trust me with your feelings and your thoughts like that. And
I will use all of them against you in a lawsuit one day.
I can't wait to spend more time with you. Okay, I'm done. Cutting myself off. Good night.
Ooh, so that was it. There was one when he did the okay, that's it at the very end. There seemed like, by my ear, just like editing shows over the years, it seemed like there was a cut mark, because okay, I get it. Like, it seemed so quick, and maybe that was just him snapping out of that 6-minute monologue. But it could possibly have been a cut mark as well, and he could have, whoever released this could have cut a piece out of it. But I will say, I don't know if that necessarily did everything that he wanted it to do. Like, first off, he apologizes to her, but it just seemed, I don't know. Like, it just seemed there were elements of, depending on how you look at it, there was a cringe factor, which, like I said, artists, there is just cringe. That's how a lot of artists work. That's how collaboration is. It can be really syrupy sweet. And if you're not in it, it can be like, oh God. Like, by the way, if I find out Baldoni and Lively have a Slack channel throughout the filming, I'll kill myself. I literally will end my time on this earth, because I'm just so scared what other forms of documentation we're going to get hit with this week. But that is enough for today. This has been nearly 2 hours. 2 hours of fun, right? If you made it all the way through this, let me know if you want me to do another episode where I do read through the 179-page complaint, because there's so many little details I would love to talk about, but that's enough time for today. I need to release you like I need to release myself, and we've got so many other great episodes this week and stuff, but let me know. That has been my plan, but it's just such a weird story. But I think if they keep going down this path, they're both going to look really bad. Both of them, no matter who is at fault, I think they're both harming each other's image. So I think it does deserve to be fought out in court.